Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our forecast for the final week of March and the start of April, which is this Friday. Can you believe that? So let's take a look at the satellite map. We've got two areas in New Zealand to focus on for the next sort of week or two. The first is the top northeastern corner up here, where we're seeing more showers, a bit of a break in some areas, but we're not yet done with the rain. And at the other end of the country, Southland. Southland's basically now in a drought. Let's be honest, it's basically in a drought. For it to be announced as a drought, you've got to get a giant committee of people from all sorts of different backgrounds all agreeing on it, so good luck with that. But in the short term, weather forecasters would say you're in a drought. And we're looking for rain and we're not seeing a lot. Over the next 15 days ahead, we are expecting just 10 to 25 millimetres across Southland over 15 days. Hopefully we're wrong. Hopefully there is a downpour somewhere in there that changes things. But based on the modelling, we're seeing a lot more high pressure south of Australia. That's been the problem all this year, leading to that dry weather down in the south. So let's try and make sense of that a wee bit more. On the animated wind map, you can certainly see that low pressure zone. It's almost like it was a week ago. It hasn't moved much. Well, actually, a week ago it was over here. So this is the new setup, and it will be there for a little bit longer. But there's a lot of high pressure down around the South Island, the Chatham Islands. So that low is stuck for now anyway. And that will mean a bit more rain and showers coming through. The southerlies clipping there. I saw the Prime Minister on the news last night in the flooded areas, and also noticed that the weather was still very cloudy, low cloud through the ranges, and was still wet in some of those shots. So we're not yet done with that system. And down in the south, with that high pressure zone in charge, you don't have a lot of rain in the forecast. Here is the 2-day rainfall. This is Monday and Tuesday from 7 o'clock in the morning. So we're dry right across this area here. Maybe an isolated shower, but otherwise dry. On the eastern side, here are the bigger rainfall totals, and we're still getting up into that 60 millimetre mark. So over 2 days, that's usually below a rain warning, but within 1 day, that can trigger a rain warning. So there could still be some interest in this area. Met Service may well have a warning issued, or at least a watch. So keep an eye on that. Much drier the further south you go. So let's take a look at the forecast for Tuesday with 24 hours of rain on top. There is the low. The rainfall totals in the green and yellows, so 15 to 20 millimetres across 24 hours. So that's not too bad, and that will actually in some ways help with the cleanup. High pressures elsewhere, so there won't be a lot to talk about. And over in Australia, we've got a low drifting out of the Coral Sea area with a bit of wet weather. That zone in there getting to the purple shading, which is 100 millimetres. That's mostly offshore, but just brushing you. And the remnants of Charlotte out there, we've still got some wet weather across western parts of Australia. By Wednesday, it stays wet out there. We've got about 20, 30 millimetres for some of you. Heavier rain coming through here, right on the Queensland-New South Wales border, perhaps more into New South Wales as that low pressure zone hugs the eastern coastline. La Nina has peaked, but it hasn't finished. And in the New Zealand area on Wednesday, just a few showers in that eastern area. The low now weakening, getting larger, and the rainfall totals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 millimetres. That's about it in that corner. So finally a break by the time we get to Wednesday. And by Thursday, you've still got a few showers, but it's even further down into that pale blue. So lots of dry spells returning to that northeast corner. But at the other end of the country, very dry. Not seeing much in the way of rain, but this low in the Tasman certainly gets a lot bigger. And we noticed that on Thursday, and it brings more rain with it, although not necessarily where you might think. It comes down more so into Fiordland, the area that sticks furthest out to the west. So that gets clipped by some rain, maybe 35, 40 millimetres, not much at all, and a little bit of spillover into Southland. The yellows you're seeing there, 10, or actually really 5 to 15 millimetres, around the 10 millimetre mark. And that's over 2 days, from Thursday to Friday. Thursday, 8 o'clock in the morning, through till Saturday, 8 o'clock in the morning. So a little bit of wet weather for the south, but not necessarily huge amounts. Here on Friday, you can see those showers, so it doesn't accumulate to very much. So sorry, Southland, this is not the big rain event that you need. And in the North Island, it looks like a dry end to the week and a dry start to the 1st of April, with this storm out at sea not really impacting a lot of places, although Sydney might have a bit of a windy southerly with showers, but doesn't look as though there's very much in the way of accumulation, maybe only 1 millimetre. So that's an interesting setup for the end of the week. Doesn't change a lot as we go into Saturday, although if you might have just noticed, just gets a little bit closer back to New South Wales again. So instead of it being 1 millimetre, you're now getting up to the green, maybe 10 millimetres or 15. Still not much. That southerly will be blowing through, might be more of a southeasterly. And on the New Zealand side, mostly dry on Saturday, maybe a shower or two here and there. Otherwise, yeah, mainly dry with light winds across the country. So that is the forecast for the rest of March. I'll be back again on Tuesday with our next update.